starting to get some work done. He'll keep calling me. He'll keep calling me until I answer. He'll make me feel guilty. This is ridiculous. Okay, I'll go. What? I'll go. John Nelson Support Desk. Tommy speaking. How may I help you?
Hello.
Hello.
Oh, Tommy, do you have a second?
For you, my friend, of course. Anytime.
Okay, good. Hey, I saw you responded to a comment on that video I just posted.
Yeah. Oh, the one about your vector tile style thing, right?
Yeah.
That one?
Hey,
That
I
was a good
was
one.
wondering, do you want to elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. How much time you got, man?
Oh gosh. Well, I was just thinking a quick video right now.
You want to record it right now, or you just want me to just make something up?
Can you just do it?
Um, yeah, sure. That I don't see a problem with that.
Okay, great. Because I promised a lot of people that there would be a more detailed blog post forthcoming, and I really need you to knock this out.
Sure. But you know how I feel about writing. It's not really my forte. It's not really my thing.
Hey, video? Video would be just fine.
Is
You
that
do
cool?
those.
That's cool.
You do those.
Sweet. Well, let me see what I can come up with, and
Okay,
yeah.
perfect. I'll let everybody know that you're on it, and you'll have something by EOD.
Wait, what?
Goodbye forever.
Wait, but today? Wait, did he just hang up on me? He did. He hung up on me. I love the people that I get to work with. Let's talk about what's going on behind the scenes with John's bit of basemap wizardry here. So the first myth to dispel is that by manipulating a style, we're not actually extracting any data from the basemap. Think of this more of just isolating a specific layer from that basemap and asking your computer, your phone, your device, whatever, only to render that specific layer. And before I get ahead of myself, we should probably talk about some basic terminology of vector tiles, namely the different parts of what is known collectively as a tile set. Now, vector tile set is comprised of tiles, style, sprites, glyphs or fonts, and if it was built using ArcGIS Pro, the tile index. Now let's focus on the style for right now. Here's an example of a style. It's JSON. It's this is the world topographic basemap. We can see references to our sprites, our glyphs, and our tiles. Down here is all the rendering instructions and the layers. This is for every layer that's in that topographic basemap. This is an intense one, right? But without this style file, you don't have a map. This is the glue that holds the tile set together. Now, another way to think about style files is that they're very similar to layer files in that they don't store any data, but they do have all of the rendering instructions, your labeling instructions, your definition queries, scale dependencies, all in that one file. So with all of that out of the way, how did John do? Sure, he could have gone layer by layer, turning things off, or even group layer by group layer, but that's tedious. And as scary as it was hacking and slashing his way through that JSON jungle, I still think it was probably the fastest way that he could have accomplished this. So good job, man. Nice. I think this finally leads us to the question that started this whole discussion. And Netty Bird asks, so what can we do if we download this style? And as they point out, yeah, there are a few different places where you can download the style from. The items detail page, the vector tile style editor. I do want to say though that there's a lot that we can do directly in the style editor application, especially now that you can edit the JSON directly in that app. Honestly, it's one of my favorite new features that they've added. Now that said, there are some things that you can't modify directly in the GUI. You have to edit the JSON. Look at this example. We can't modify the attribute that is driving all the labels in my map. But because we have access to the JSON now, I can quickly find my attribute, change this to Spanish, click update, and now my map is updated. That's pretty sweet. I think there's really two compelling reasons why you'd want to download this style. And the first one is, well, if you're comfortable with the style spec or you want to edit it in a text editor of your choosing, go for it, have at it. For me personally, I am comfortable with the spec, but I can accomplish, I would say, probably 99% of what I need to do directly in the style editor. Let's be honest, as John mentioned, editing that beast of a JSON it's intimidating. Things can get messy pretty quickly. Now, second, this is probably the most compelling reason. If you want to do some more advanced styling techniques, downloading the style is going to be your best bet. Now, you may have noticed that in the style editor, in the JSON editor, you don't have access to the full style. You only have access to the layers. So you can't edit things like the sprites or the glyphs or the tile URLs. Now, that's not a huge deal, and to be honest, why in the world would you want to do that? I am so glad you asked, because I want to leave you with one advanced styling technique, and it's merging styles or creating a style that has multiple sources. Let me show you what I mean. So here's a web map that has two different vector tile layers in it. We have the world topo basemap, as well as a custom basemap that I made that has just New York City subways, subway stations, and labels. And you can see what's happening is the labels from the subways layer is stepping all over the roads layer from the base map. And that's because these two layers are not aware of each other, right? So label collisions aren't taking place because they're being rendered independently. We've got to mash these things together into a single style or a single web layer in order for that to happen. For that, I need to do a little bit of style surgery. This is going to get a little rough, but I promise we'll get through it together. So in order to pull this off, I need two style files. First, I'm going to create a temporary placeholder style from the topo base maps. We'll call this with subways. Okay. And once it's in there, I'm going to click this download current style button. I'm not going to make any edits to this just yet, but I'm going to download this and pop that open in my text editor of choice. Click save. And that's now saved to my content directory. Next, I need to get the style for the subways layer. I'm going to click view style, grab all this, and I'm going to bring all of that into text editor. Just format that. First things first, we need to prep our sources, and we need to make sure that all of our layers are going to be referencing a unique source. If we look over here on the left-hand side, the topographic basemap has all of its layers pointing at the Esri source. It's going to reference this vector tile layer at this URL. What we're going to do is we're going to add another source to this block here, object array. Let me know in the comments below. Set me straight, please. Just going to grab all of it. All right. We need to call this something unique. Let's call this NYC. Honestly, we don't need the tiles, so I can delete that one. Let's pretty things up a smidge. We still need to fix this URL. So where do we get this URL from? Let's go back to subways layer. We're going to scroll down. We're just going to copy that back to our editor. Paste this in there. Next, I have to set up all of the sources. I have to switch the sources, I should say, in the subways to reference this New York City string. We'll just do a little bit of find and replace that. And we'll do replace all. Good. So all my layers now are going to be looking for this New York City or this NYC source. Now I know for a fact that I want my subway lines to draw on top of all of the roads. So I'm going to come over to my subways JSON. I'm going to grab all of these except for the last two. So I have labels and subway stations. I don't want that one. Just want that. Okay. Copy. And right below this layer, I'm going to insert all of that stuff. So that's the lines, the subway lines. The next thing we need to do is make sure that we get our subway symbols and our subway labels, subway station labels into this. So we find the last item ID, which is, or layer ID, I should say, which is this one. Add in the last set of layers from the subways. This is going to be the station icons. And this is going to be the station text. So just copy that, bring that over here to the left-hand side. So we're going to save this. I'm going to save that one. We're going to head back to our web map. Now, we've created a new modified style that has everything slammed together. So this is where our temporary style comes back into play. We need to check out the items detail page. What we want to do here is we want to update this style. So we're going to click update. We're going to browse to and push that back up. Once that's done, we're ready to start modifying this. I'll go back to the map. I'll launch the vector tile style editor. And if everything is working properly, oh no, I broke my map. I know what I did. We are seeing the lines. Perfect, great, we're almost there. But we're missing some key things. We're missing the station symbols. We're missing the station text. And I should have caught this, but I was going too fast. So let's look at our layers. So here's all of our subway lines now. Let's look at our stations layer first. And there it is, yep. So the symbol that was referenced in this style, go back to my symbol, it's looking for something called subway stations. What this means is that it's looking for a sprite or an icon on the sprite sheet that's called subway stations. What's happening is that this sprite sheet for the base map doesn't have anything called subway stations. Now, thankfully, I think we've got a rail station. So all we need to do is just pick one that's in that sprite sheet. Now we've got our icons back. Alternatively, if you want to overachieve, you can come over here to the edit icons page and you can actually upload your own SVGs with icons, which is pretty cool. We don't have time to get into that today, unfortunately, but all right. So we've got our symbols back. That's fantastic. The last thing we need to figure out is what did Tommy do with the text? Why isn't the text showing up? Where are my labels? And that's because even though Source Sans Pro is my favorite, this isn't a font that's in the available fonts that are in the Esri basemaps. So if we look at this little pop-up here, we can scroll through. Source Sans Pro isn't there. We can also look in this current style. We can look at what fonts are currently being used. We'll just use Noto Sans Bold. You see, our text comes right back, fixed and done. I want to turn this layer off. There we go. We don't want to confuse people. So now we've got point symbols, point labels, and lines that are coming from a different tile set, mashed up, merged, blended, whatever you want to call it, inside of a single style file now. That is really, really cool. Now if I click save and go back to my map, and I turn off this layer, oh no, I broke it again. That's because in the classic map viewer, it doesn't know how to handle a multi-source style. So once you do this technique, you have to use the new map viewer. No, we'll just re-add that base map layer. So go to base map, go to topographic base map. We'll turn that one off and we'll add the with subways. Zoom in and I can already see them. Glorious. We zoom in a little bit more, we should see our icons. There they are. A little bit more, we have our labels. Perfect. I know that was intense. I'm sorry. But how cool is that? That is really, really awesome that you can smash two things together, get that really refined look and feel that you're going for. For all those people that John promised a deep dive on this topic, I sincerely hope that helps. But that's all I've got for now, folks. Until next time, take care. See ya. Nailed it.
Oneer.
Big oneer.
We did it, buddy.
Nailed it. High five.
Nice work. Get my eyes moistened. Okay, go.
So do you like not move? Or like blink? If I blink, I lose, right?